I made a magic system, and it uses the souls of the dead for fuel. I've been drawing a lot of characters from comics recently, and a lot of them are witches, and I started connecting their stories with each other. So I thought about making a world for them. Then I made a magic system. I have a lot of time to think about it due to insomnia, staring at the ceiling all night, hoping to fall asleep. Anyway, I wanted to feel somewhat familiar, like you can still use fireball and the like, but the mechanics is different. In a lot of stories, characters would use mana or something similar, basically an internal reserve of mystical magical energy for which to draw power from and do cool shit with, which is fine, good even. But I just didn't think it would work for this world. I want the main resource for the magic to be abundant for the most part, but in some scenarios, it can be scarce, so that characters who would otherwise be powerful can be rendered helpless. I just think it would make for better scenarios. Thus, I made it so that the main resource for casting magic is the souls in the air, and the amount of souls in a specific place depends entirely on how many things have died in that area. Normally, these souls would have come from microbes. After all, a generation of them could live and die within hours. While individual microbes don't generate much, the sheer volume of them dying generates a constant rate of souls. Plants and bugs and animals produce larger souls than microbes, but they tend to live a bit longer. So in places where a lot of things live, there will be a lot of souls. Rainforests, swamps, etc. This is why some witches and wizards love to stay in these places. But another place where there could be a lot of souls would be a battlefield where a lot of people have died recently, or a plague-ridden city, or a kingdom razed to the ground. Witches and wizards shine in war because they basically get infinite ammo. While in places with less deaths, like in a desert or badland where not a lot of things live, mages are practically useless. They won't even have enough souls to cool themselves down as they die from the heat. Of course, every mage have their own soul. Every living thing has a soul, with a few notable exceptions. So a mage can use part of their own soul as fuel, but that would be a poor decision, reserved only for the most dire of emergencies. You see, the ability to control the souls around you depend mostly on the size of your own soul. The bigger the soul, the more souls are attracted to it, kinda like gravity. The more mass something has, the more it attracts other mass into itself. So losing a part of it is a direct nerf to your ability to cast future magic. It's like cutting off your arm so you can use it as a bat and get more reach. Yes, now you can hit the guy, but you lose an arm. And besides, a person's soul is more than fuel. It is their consciousness, and it contains a lot of things that are important to that person, like their memories, their personality, their dreams, their ambitions. Lose a part of it, and you lose a part of what it means to be a person. A human soul is divided into 4 distinct parts: memories, will, ego, and anima. Memories are, well, a person's memories, their experiences, and their knowledge. This part gets bigger the more memories or knowledge someone has. These memories are etched into the soul, but this isn't the only copy. The brain also keeps a copy of these memories, although they are a bit different. The brain memory is more objective. It records what happened, but not the feeling you were having when it was happening, while a soul memory is more colored by the subjective experience. If you take someone's soul memory from their body, they might still remember most things that happened in their life, but they wouldn't feel like they were the ones who lived it. If they remember their first kiss, they would remember the objective events, but they would feel like they were watching it instead of living through it. They would feel dissociated from the memory. Eventually, slowly, the soul begins to recover, and it creates a somewhat convincing approximation of the soul memory based on the memories from the brain, although it will never be the same. Will is someone's drives, their desires. It's their motivations, their ambitions, their dreams. But it is also their insecurities, their fears, and hates. It is what moves a soul to action, and it's also what allows witches and wizards to move and command souls around them. It's what the souls follow. They listen to the will, and they do what the will tells them. Almost every living thing possesses a will. Even the microbes who had a will to survive and reproduce. Though, not all wills are equal. Plants have inert wills. They do want to survive, but other than that, they don't really want a lot of things. Animals, especially humans, want a lot of things, so they have more active wills. This will be important later. If you take someone's will out of their body, they will stay alive, but will not move, not drink, not eat. They won't do anything because they have no motivation to do so. They would still be conscious, but they won't feel the need to do anything. Think of the will as the glue that holds all the other parts of soul together. Without it, the soul eventually crumbles and dissipates. Ego is the collection of traits and flaws that make a person's, well, personality. If someone is shy or arrogant or extroverted or introverted, loud or quiet, whatever, that's ego. It's sort of like the CPU for the memory and will. Every decision is filtered through the ego. Some say that the ego is the consciousness, and they're probably right, as if you take someone's entire ego from their body, they would still function. They will still try to feed themselves, drink, dress, whatever it takes to survive, but they wouldn't feel human. More like an automaton, trying to follow a set directive. They wouldn't feel like they were conscious of what they were doing. Anima is the biggest part of the soul. In fact, it's kind of like the building block of the soul. Memory, will, ego are all made out of anima, but more specialized to do their specific tasks. Anima is what allows the soul to move them. Of course, eventually the anima will try to fill that part up again that it inhabits. It's kind of like the soul wearing a meat suit and controlling it. Fun fact, if you take the anima out of someone's arm, they would lose control of that arm entirely. Of course, eventually the anima will try to fill that part up again and slowly regain control. When someone dies, the other three parts disintegrate into anima. In fact, almost all of the souls in the air are anima. And the act of using magic is like extending your will into the anima outside of your body and moving it as if it is the anima inside of your body. Everyone in the world can technically use magic. No, only a certain group of people can use magic type deal. It's like ratatouille. Anyone can cook, but not everyone will. Magic is a difficult endeavor. Most people just won't do it. Maybe they will try to use it for their daily lives, like learning how to light a fire or move the air to cool their bodies on a hot summer day. But being a witch or a wizard requires commitment. At higher levels, it's like learning nuclear physics. You want to teleport? Do you know how to quantum entangle your particles to a different set of particles on the other side of the globe? Do you know how to make an Einstein-Rosen bridge? If not, you can't teleport. Age is also a barrier. Soul grows with age, so the older someone gets, the more souls they can control around them. In a duel between a 50-year-old mage and a 20-year-old mage, the 50-year-old mage can control more souls in the air, so they can cast more spells or maybe even use stronger spells. At base, mages in their 20s mostly amount to slightly more threatening street performers. They may be able to cast some useful spells, but in a duel, they're fairly weak. They bridge this gap by using wands. Wands are just trees that have been shrunken and made lighter, usually kept alive by one means or another. It is important that the tree is kept alive, or at least dying very, very slowly. It's because the tree has a larger soul than younger humans, but their wills are inert. This way, humans can use their own wills to influence the wand's will. Mages need to dominate a wand in order to use it. After doing so, they can now control the will of the wand, using the wand's massive soul to control the souls around it, allowing them to use stronger magic. Depending on the age and quality of the wand, a 20-year-old may control as much souls as a 50 to even an 80-year-old witch. But because casting a spell basically requires the wand to act as a middleman, it's quite slow, painfully so. So older mages tend to opt out of using wands during combat. They prefer quick casting instead, in exchange for losing some of the power. But they can still pull out the wand if they need to, or even kill it to get some souls as fuel in case of an emergency. I have a lot of other ideas, like what you wear or how you conduct yourself affect the magic you cast, or how countries wage wars with one another, or what monsters and gods look like in this world. But I think I'll save that for another video if you guys want.